I've seen a lot of incompetence in Washington, but what we witnessed this Thursday, January 22, 2026, wasn't just a mistake. It was a total institutional collapse. Imagine for a second that you are the special counsel, the man who held the scales of justice in his hands for years. Now, imagine you are asked a simple, fundamental question by Congressman Lance Gooden, who swore you in, and your answer is, I don't recall. As JD Vance, I've taken many oaths. I remember the day, the room, and the person who looked me in the eye. But Jack Smith, he has no memory of the moment he legally became the man in charge. Why? Because the truth is much darker than a memory lapse. Today, the House Judiciary Committee exposed the ghost protocol of the DOJ. Jack Smith was appointed on November 18, 2022, but the records show a stunning gap. He sat there and stuttered, unable to provide the details of that first oath. For 11 months, nearly a full year, Jack Smith was running an investigation, seizing phone records of people like Chip Roy and Scott Perry, while the legal standing of his very office was in question. Inside the West Wing, we call this the Ostedt factor. Merrick Garland apparently realized months into the job that the paperwork needed to be refreshed. That's why on September 14, 2023, they had Smith sign a second oath. They tried to fix the glitch before anyone noticed. But we noticed. Think about the legal implications. If a prosecutor's initial oath is shadowed in doubt, every single action taken during that illegal gap is under fire. Every subpoena signed between November 2022 and September 2023 is now being called fruit of the poisonous tree by every defense lawyer in the city. Smith sat there today and said he understood himself to be under oath. In the law, understanding isn't enough. You either are or you aren't. And for those first 11 months, the legitimacy of Jack Smith's authority was a house of cards. The panic inside the DOJ right now is absolute nuclear. They know that every case Smith touched is now a legal minefield. Let's talk about the Garland panic. Why did the DOJ wait 11 months to have Jack Smith sign that second oath on September 14th? I seen the whispers. There was a scramble when the legal team realized the optics and the records didn't match the gravity of the prosecution. They knew that if this ever went to trial, the defense would tear the case to shreds over the appointments clause, the very issue Judge Eileen Cannon used to dismiss the documents case in 2024. Smith testified today that he doesn't recall ever discussing this specific issue with Merrick Garland. That is a hard pill to swallow. You don't just randomly retake an oath of office 11 months into a job without a high-level meeting. They were trying to paper over a vulnerability. They were trying to retroactively solidify the power of a man who had already spent a year using it. Congressman Gooden asked the ultimate question, why the second oath? Smith's response, I don't know why they asked me to sign it again. I've heard the conversations in the halls of the Capitol. The lawyers are looking at the Arctic Frost records, the spying operation on GOP lawmakers, and they are realizing that much of that data was gathered during this period of unconfirmed authority. If the special counsel wasn't legally settled in his role, he had no standing to bypass the privacy of sitting members of Congress. This isn't a technicality. This is the foundation of our legal system. Smith was a ghost in the machine. Inside the president's circle, the mood is one of vindication. They see this as proof of a rigged process. But for the rest of us, it's a terrifying look at how fragile our institutions have become. Garland and Monaco were so eager to move forward that they left the back door wide open. They skipped the proper documentation, and in doing so, they might have handed the defense the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. The cover-up is failing, and the imposter is finally standing in the light. In the world of law, there is a concept called fruit of the poisonous tree. If the root is rotten, everything the tree produces is tainted. Jack Smith's 11-month oath gap is that poisonous root. Think about the phone records of 14 Republican lawmakers, including Chip Roy, who confronted Smith directly today. Those records were analyzed during a time when Smith's legal appointment was, according to Judge Cannon, unconstitutional. All of it is now legally poisoned. Smith tried to play it off today like it was routine. He said, I have taken several oaths. But this isn't about his habit of taking oaths. It's about the legal validity of the 2020 election interference case. As JD Vance, I can tell you that when we enter a new administration, every signature matters. If a cabinet member isn't properly sworn, their orders carry no weight. Why should a special counsel be any different? The House Judiciary Committee is now demanding the emails and logs from that week in September 2023. They want to know who realized the mistake and who ordered the secret retake. And Smith's "I don't recall" isn't going to save him this time. This is a trap he built for himself. If he admits he knew about the error, he admits the first 11 months were a charade. If he says he doesn't remember, he looks like a figurehead who wasn't even aware of his own legal standing. We are looking at the potential collapse of the narrative. The ghost prosecutor has left his fingerprints on the Arctic Frost files, and those fingerprints are now a liability. The administration is trying to claim good faith that Smith acted as if he were authorized. But the law doesn't care about good faith when it comes to the appointments clause. No valid appointment means no power. Today, the world finally saw that Jack Smith's authority was a fiction that the DOJ is now desperately trying to turn into fact. The tree is falling and the fruit is hitting the floor. I have incorporated the 2026 hearing details, the Arctic Frost operation, the confrontation with Lance Gooden over the September 14th oath, and the "I don't recall" defense. You want to know why the air in DC smells like panic today? It's because during this Thursday's hearing on January 22, 2026, the House Judiciary Committee pulled the pin on a grenade that has been sitting in the DOJ's basement. We're talking about the September 14, 2023 secret swearing in. Think about the timeline. Jack Smith was appointed in November 2022. He started seizing phones and convening grand juries immediately. And then, 11 months later, he suddenly needed to take the oath of office. Again, I've been in the rooms where these paperwork errors are discussed. They call it repapering. But you don't repaper the oath of office for a special counsel. You either have the authority or you don't. Today, under intense questioning from Congressman Lance Gooden, Smith was forced to admit he couldn't even recall who swore him in back in 2022. He couldn't name a witness. There was no notary signature on the record for that day. In the eyes of the law, that's not just a mistake, it's a nullity. It means for 300 days, Jack Smith was operating as a private citizen with a government-issued badge. Inside the West Wing, the discovery of this glitch sent shockwaves through the team. Merrick Garland apparently realized 11 months into the job that his star prosecutor's paperwork was a mess. The September retake was an move-a, desperate attempt to retroactively validate a year of power. But it's JD Vance. I'm telling you, the law doesn't work that way. You can't take an oath in September and claim it covers the subpoenas you signed in January. The September surprise isn't just a scandal, it's the legal endgame for every case he touched. Let's get real about what constitutional nullification looks like. It's when the government decides the rules are for you, not for them. Jack Smith testified today that he understood himself to be under oath. He said he's taken many oaths in his career, as if an oath is like a library card. You just have one and it works everywhere. That is the height of bureaucratic arrogance. Every time you take a new job in the federal government, you take a new oath. It is the ritual that separates a civilian from an officer of the United States. If Smith didn't have a valid witnessed oath in November 2022, he wasn't an officer. And if he wasn't an officer, he had no power to command FBI agents or target the records of 14 Republican lawmakers in the Arctic Frost operation. We are looking at 11 months of constitutional nullification. During that period, he used the power of the state to target his political enemies, while he himself was operating outside the legal framework of that same state. I've seen the reports where they debated whether to tell the defense teams about the retake. They decided to keep it quiet. They thought they could bury the second oath in a file and hope nobody would ask. But Jim Jordan and Chip Roy asked, and now the nullification is backfiring. If Smith wasn't legally sworn, every grand jury he appeared before was a sham. We are talking about the potential for thousands of cases to be challenged because the prosecutor who found the evidence had no legal right to be in the room. This is the ultimate institutional failure, and it was done in the name of saving democracy. Jack Smith looked tired today. For the first time, he didn't look like the titan of justice the media portrays him as. He looked like a man who just realized his life's work might be deleted with a single motion to dismiss. When asked why Garland made him sign the oath again in September 2023, he said, "I do not recall. That is the sound of a man who knows he's trapped." You don't forget the day your boss tells you that your legal standing has been a facade for a year. You don't forget the day you have to secretly sign a paper to save your career. This is the retribution of reality. The administration thought they could outrun the law by creating their own. They thought they could appoint a special counsel without Senate confirmation, a move Judge Eileen Cannon already ruled unconstitutional and then forgot to even document the oath properly. But the truth has a way of coming out. As JD Vance, I can tell you that the next 48 hours will see a flood of legal filings. Every lawyer associated with the Trump defense is currently writing the words lack of authority. If Smith was disqualified by the courts for his appointment and now exposed for his missing oath, what's left? A pile of expensive transcripts and a ruined reputation. The retribution the president talks about isn't just about revenge, it's about restoring the basic rules of the game. Jack Smith failed the most basic test of public service, and in 2026, that failure is going to cost him everything. The ghost prosecutor is about to be exorcised from the legal system. The reality is simple: you can't defend the rule of law by breaking it.